Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's Norwich City 2, Leeds United 3 in an epic comeback for the Whites. We're going to speak about it all. We're going to review the game. I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm Stephen Brown. With me, Jayson Booker. Oh, man.
Quick last minute change to that thumbnail, mate. Quick last minute change to that thumbnail.
My thumbnail that I was going to do for this video at halftime, I might just put it on the socials just for lols because it was damning. It was going to be damning. Slow starts and were the architects of his own downfall and all this other thing. But we've turned it around, man. We've turned it around. We're going to try and make sense of it. It's going to be a bit all over the place. If you're watching now, please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching later on as well, please drop your comments in. What did you think of the game? And if you're listening on Spotify as well, please do share it around with your Leeds United supporting mates as well. I mean, first of all, your reaction. I mean, 2-0 down at half-time. You know, it's a long way back against a team. It's a difficult ground to go to. There's a lot of emotion in it, Farker. Going back to Norwich, we had the Southampton game a few weeks ago where we just never really got ourselves back into that game. Your reaction, mate? What do you think, just off the top, that comeback?
Oh, I mean, there's so much to dissect in this one today, I think. So much to talk about. I thought, first off, I've got to say, I thought Norwich were really good. I thought they were a really good side, and I thought coming forward, I actually said to you in the second half, I thought they were very similar to us. They have some serious deficiencies at the back, some big problems defensively at times. But going forward, I think they've got a lot of attacking intent. I thought Sarah and the lad on the other side, Rowe, in the first half were causing us all sorts of problems. Adam Ida's a good player, he's a good target man. They link the play really well together. I thought Hernandez, you know, who's been at Norwich a long time, one of Daniel Farke's signings. Thought he had a really good game, especially first half. And ultimately we're getting at half time, and it easily could have been 2-0 the other way. We had chances as well. It could have easily been 2 or 3. Either way, like they had a couple of big chances. Pascal, I thought, was excellent today. Excellent. It covered for Rodon at times, who had a bit of a shifty game, especially first half.
Yeah, it's surprising, wasn't it? That.
Yeah, but I mean, we had hatful of chances. Rutter had a chance, and James had a chance. Somerville had a couple. Pirro had a chance. Kamara had a massive chance. I mean, that goes in, and it's one. I mean, he should score that. I think if that's Pirro, it's 1-1. But Pirro had a great chance himself. I think the defender just in his eye line coming over this shoulder kind of put him off a little bit. Didn't get the whip on it that he wanted to. But that side, we went in 2-0 down at half time. Sloppy from the corner. We start so slow at times, kind of like we want to grow into the game. And these teams they're coming out, especially away from home. No, you can't. You can't. You're right. You are right. And then the second goal, there was some real quality in it, but there was also some really bad defending in it as well.
Nightmares. I was just sitting at halftime, kind of shaking at that. I just thought, oh my God.
I got to say, I've seen some people blaming Melia for it. I'm like, what planet are you on? Like, it was smashed passing.
I blame the 8 defenders, the 8 Leeds players who were just fannying around instead of like getting the ball.
It was wild. I thought Melia actually had quite a good game. Not that he had loads to do, but I thought he had an all right game actually.
Nah, so it's agenda in it. If you're trying to blame
it, is an agenda. It is an agenda. And I mean, I kind of want to, you know, when we get into it, talk about Archie today, because I think like you of course can give him passes for bad performances. You can give any player passes for bad performances, but if Luke Ayling had had his performance today, would have been going absolutely in on him. I thought he had a real stinker today. I've
got to admit, Jason, I thought I'm definitely in the minority. I thought he's a little overpraised for the Bristol game. Just my opinion. I thought he's a little OTT, the praise that he got in that game.
Fair. I thought he played well. I thought he played well in the Bristol game.
You know, it's
fair. That's fair. But rather than jumping all over the place, I mean, probably start at the beginning. The team roller coaster, a bit like this stream, mate. All over the place.
Lumpy. Cheers for your comment, mate. Guys, get your comments in as well. Get your likes on the video as well. But I mean, sorry, go ahead, mate.
I was just going to say I wasn't surprised to see the starting lineup the same as what it was. It made sense. Archie had earned his place at right back after the Bristol performance. I still would have preferred him to start over Ayling, of course. Ayling, I think, had been given nightmares by Sarr and Hernandez if he'd have been in that position. So no problem with that. I thought Kamara was probably the best player from the first half, him and Pascal, personally. And then in the second half, obviously, Cree does just Cree things, right? Like I sent you a message maybe 5 minutes before he scored the first goal, and I went, like, his first goal, sorry. I just want to scream at him because, like, just make the pass or make the shot. Like the chance that he had in the first half where he took it in, he had a moment on his left foot, just strike the ball, man. But he wants to take that extra touch, and it's just like, but he's not the finished product, so I get it. He's so dynamic and explosive, and as players around him tire, he just takes the pace. He's so quick.
Dribbling and it's just so exciting, isn't he? So exciting when he gets in that mode. Yeah, no, I agree. When I saw the lineup, I was like, I'm happy with that, you know. And I mean, someone as well that we've got to point out, Dan James again. I mean, you know, you messaged me saying I don't want to hear any Dan James hate again. I agree 100%. The guy makes things happen, and you know, you can see technically he's probably our poorest winger, really. You know, technically, but God, he makes things happen.
He torments them, mate. He torments them, especially as the game goes on and on and on. And he does the defensive work. He gets back and he really helps his fullback. You know, that's why, you know, it's part of the reason that Archie can be trusted to play right back is that Dan James is playing in front of him because he does a lot of work for him. But that second half today, and his deliveries were excellent. Not all of them, but I said this the other week. The deliveries that he aims for are always into dangerous areas. So sometimes they're going to get cleared or he's going to shank it out of play. And I know his quality is not great. Like, we have to, I please want people to hear when I say this, but you go back and watch that second half today, he absolutely terrorised Norwich in that second half. There was a delivery just before the own goal. The own goal was all Dan James. And that touch that Dan James makes, he's the only player that we have that can push the ball like that in front of himself and catch up to it to drag it back across in the way that he did. And then I think did he get another assist? I can't remember, but he definitely had other contributing factors before he then came off. I thought he was excellent in that second.
No, absolutely. Diggler, thanks for comment, mate. 3 wins in a row here, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. I thought, oh, God, nothing worse coming back after that international break and getting humped by Norwich. We definitely didn't want that. We've got to talk, though, a little bit about this slow start. Obviously, we've touched on it. It is driving me insane.
Yeah.
We were conceded after 4 minutes. I mean, we look vulnerable on set pieces, you know, and I don't know what it is. We're just not switched on from the start. Or like you say, I think actually you make a really good point that we seem to be trying to play our way into games. And I've got to say, there's been a few times this season where we've been lucky with that, where the opposition hasn't scored, but they've been on top. You know, I'm thinking Millwall away, first 15 minutes battering us. Got to get a grip of that. We've really got to get a grip of that. We can't have that. Are you struggling to hear me, mate, or is it other way around? Oh, Jason's just going. But yeah, we've got to talk about these slow starts because it's absolutely infuriating. I'm just so happy that we've turned it around in the end. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just a case of we're slow to come out of the blocks or players are settling in, but it's. I mean, I was sat there thinking, you know, we're just not going to catch this top 2. You know, if we're having these kind of slow starts. And I mean, what about the vulnerability from the corner? I mean, who's at fault for that goal? I mean, I'm watching it and I'm like, Kamara's off a man, Pirro's kind of dancing about. I'm like, and 3-4 minutes into the game, and you're just thinking, we're giving ourselves a mammoth task because then Norwich are just hitting us on the counter again and again. Yeah. And their forwards were really good, and we found it difficult. You know, we found it difficult to deal with them. And Rodon was off it. That's the worst Rodon performance. He was erratic. His yellow card was very erratic. Some of his passing as well was quite a bit off, and he just wasn't quite at it today. But, you know, listen, everybody's going to have a game where they're not quite fully at it, and that's absolutely fine. I would still want him in the team all day long.
Sorry for killing your flow there.
No.
Technical dropout. From what I remember of the set piece, only seen it back a couple of times. It looks as if Norwich had a bit of setup where they had a bunch of players towards the edge of the box that then all ran in towards the near post together. And if the delivery is good, it is extremely difficult to defend that kind of delivery, especially against a centre-back as good in the air as Shane Duffy is. He's a hell of a presence. And I mean, I think they were a bit unlucky not to score a second, by the way, Shane Duffy. I didn't see no foul, if I'm honest, on that one in the first half, but that's the way that it goes sometimes. I think he got across Rodon. I think he would have been Rodon's man, but there were a few players there. It's hard to say. We were marking zonally. So when a team set up for a set piece against a zonal marking, it's tricky to then account blame to anybody because it's everybody's fault once it goes into that zone, if you know what I mean. So
is that why you should be having a guy, your best guy in the air, just let you attack that? You know, if you're doing zone, probably just get your head to it, push to the front, do whatever.
I've never liked
someone who never set a team up tactically ever in his life.
No, I think you're right. I've never liked zonal marking. Never. Like I don't agree with it personally because I think, you know, even from right to the bottom of the pyramid, junior football, Sunday league football, have the accountability on the situation. That is your man. You deal with him, and that's it. Whereas zonal marking allows too much. Well, I thought you were going for it. In my opinion, I know it sounds simple, but that's how I feel about it. But this slow starting situation, it is a problem because you can't always rely on goals to get you back into the game. It very similar to Ipswich away, you know, Southampton away, where we couldn't build back into the game, and that's a different game if we don't concede too early. You know, goals change games, don't they? Yeah. So, we can't hope to come back from 2-0 down every week. The second goal is a little bit, it's a little bit of a different. It's in a different game state, but yeah.
I mean, that second goal, he picks the ball up and I'm screaming, going, somebody tackle him, for God's sake. I mean, how many players that he's just dancing on? I don't know if they were scared of giving a penalty away, but I mean, it was so frustrating to watch it. It really was frustrating to watch it. I just thought this is last year defending, is this?
I think the problem when we play Kamara and Gray together, Kamara and Ampadu together, is that Kamara is quite tenacious in the tackle when he's further forward in the pitch. But when he's in and around his own box, he don't really want to put a foot in because he's quite erratic, isn't it? All of his movements and everything are quite erratic. Yeah. And I think that was a little bit to do with him. If you watch it back, Kamara kind of got lost kind of ball watching a little bit and didn't really want to put a foot in. And then he ended up being able to stand the two defenders up. I think it were both Stroik and Rodon. I mean, it was a nice goal as well. Sometimes you have to say there's a bit of quality involved in it, and it were a good finish. But tend to agree with you, mate. It were frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, and how long before half time? It was 43 minutes that they scored that goal on, and you're going into that half time, and I was just cursing it. I just thought, oh, here we go. I just thought another dreadful day in the Championship where, Leeds United with all this talent, all this ability, we're throwing it away again. I mean, let's go over some of the chances. You mentioned them briefly, but some of those first half chances, it was unbelievable. For me, Pirro should do much, much better with his.
Beautiful ball by Dan James, by the way.
Yeah, Dan James, perfect weight again. But I thought, oh, come on, that's what we need from you. Get on target at least. The thing with Pirro is he's so clever and he's got really good technique, but he's a bit slow. He's very slow. And the defender kind of gets back to him and kind of is able to kind of put him off or whatever it is. But you're just thinking, come on, pull the trigger.
He's never going to be the player that runs onto a ball, is he? He's not somebody that's going to get in behind. And you're absolutely right, because so much... Don't get me wrong, he had some moments today where he linked play quite nicely. But most of the time, he's not going to be the player that is in and around the creative side of the game. We need him to finish the chances. So then when he does get them chances, he can't be doing finishes like that today. Again, Bamford gets smashed if that's him today, because it was a bad finish. It was a really poor finish.
Well, I mean, I must say on Pirro, I thought, generally speaking, he had a good game. I feel he's kind of... that pivot that he's playing where it goes, so he's got his back to the defence and he's laying off a pass. I think he's really good. I feel like he was much more in the game today than he has been at certain other games. And I thought when that Farke made that change, and I need you to like decode that change for me, because I was like watching Kamara come off and another winger come on. I'm like, hang on, I'm too emotional to even understand what is going on with this formation at the minute. Like, I just thought, Christ, he's going for it. I absolutely love it that it worked out though. But because I have at times criticised Farke for not being brave enough or not switching things soon enough. But we will get to that. But I thought Pirro really worked in that role. I mean, the other chances as well. I mean, again, like you say, Somerville should have pulled the trigger a couple of times.
Yeah.
Dan James had one where it was like, hit it across the goal, Dan. Across the goal.
He loves going for that near post,
when you've seen those chances go by, you're just thinking, not our day.
Yeah. Just sometimes we're just so unclinical. I don't know, that's not even a word, but like, we are just so far from being where we need to be. And I mean, even the goals ended up, obviously the own goal, but then Cree's two goals are both pearlers, really. Like the third is a counter attack, and he does so well, and the first is a quality strike. Yet when we get 10 yards out, we struggle to just be clinical and put the ball in the back of the net. But it's the hardest part about the game. Like, it's why strikers are paid so much. So
yeah, absolutely. We don't seem blessed with a lot of great finishers, I've got to say.
Kamara's, man, in the first half. I mean, that was the best chance of the half for me.
Oh, Kamara's, I know.
Eight, 9 yards out.
Yeah, I mean, really good, really well worked chance, but it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Again, for me, I mean, Rutter set that up, and I'm just loving Rutter. I'm loving watching Georgie at the minute. The skill, the way he keeps the ball. I mean, he's so key to it. I mean, the amount of times we play it into him in midfield, and it's like, he loses it there, we are screwed.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, he either gets the free kick or he beats the man.
There were a bit of skill he did to us end of second half when we were kind of running the clock down, and it literally was like a FIFA move. It was ridiculous. Like, I don't even know what it was. Like, the way that he positioned his body and dragged it back and then opened up the space for himself. He's a freak, because his body type and everything just is so wrong at the same time. But he just makes it work. Like, he's a bit like a giraffe, and he's all legs and arms. But he's fantastic. He's so good to watch. I mean, he had Duffy on toast, didn't he? In the first 5 or 10 minutes, he got Duffy booked and spun him behind. He's just class. It is. If everything can start clicking around him a bit more, we will score so many goals. We'll create so many chances, because he just opens teams up, and he can pick a pass. I mean, there were actually a couple today that he got wrong.
Yeah,
there were a couple that he had when he was running towards us.
He's been putting them perfect, hasn't he?
But he still were in them moments where he'd created them for himself, really, by opening up the play. So,
well, he's the magic in the team at the moment. I mean, you can argue Somerville as well, obviously today, but there's something about Rutter's play where it gets you off your feet as well when you're watching it. You're looking at it, you're excited by it, and he seems to have that X factor for us. I think we didn't have him in the team. I think if he got injured or something, I'd be really concerned. I really would, because we'd really miss that X factor of him.
He's absolutely vital. I mean, he is absolutely vital, and I mean, we'll get on to speaking about. I can't believe we're still in a position where we've not seen Jayden Anthony start a game yet. But the amount of talent that we've got in them positions, and Noah comes on and still plays well, of course, but right now he's behind Somerville, James, and probably Anthony as well, and Rutter, if you consider Rutter can play out wide. Because I think there'll be a time where Pat and Pirro play together. Every time Pat comes on, I think he changes the game. Like, and
something about him, isn't there?
He was effective again today. I mean, and again, I know we're skipping ahead of ourselves here, but that little interchange between him and Rutter, oh, man, that'd have been goal of the season if it had ended up going in, because Bamford dummied it and let it run to Rutter. He flicked it round corner. They played a little 1-2, and then Pat got it, and he managed to dance in between two of them, and it just got away from him. I think the defender managed to get a toe in. Pat should have scored as well. There were a cross from Dan James, and why is he taking a touch? Just strike it, man.
That's what we were saying. Yeah. We were like, why do you need 35 touches before you do this? And like his shot at the end where you're just like, oh, mate, get a strike, for God's sake, man. Come on. But it's nice when you see him and Rutter, like that little spark of chemistry or connection, and you're like, I love it when you see that connection between players like that. So you never know, that could be something there for us as well. second half, anyway, to get back into the game, Somerville goal, but this change by Farker that he did. So we had none to one for Byram. Glenn Kamara comes off and Bamford goes in. I mean, break that down for me, Jason. What happened to the formation there? Where
it was wild.
Because I was worried, like, oh my God, we got a central midfield.
Well, Dan James went in to play left back, didn't he? And Pirot dropped to play alongside Ampadu. It was wild. It was absolutely nuts. But you know what? Breaking it down any more than that is difficult. But I think what Farker saw is that they were tiring, and we needed to be a bit more direct. And in bringing on another attacker, we literally just went at the jugular. And, Daniel Farker this season has absolutely polarised us, hasn't he, with regards to changes. Yeah. 1 week I come on here and I'm like, why have we not made changes earlier? Or why has that not happened? And there's no answer for it. He's just got it wrong. But then the next week you come in, and we've said this 3 or 4 times now, not just today. We've been left going, he's a genius. He changed the game. Like, he got it spot on. And today he got it spot on. Like, he absolutely nailed it, because it allowed Somerville to come inside a little bit more. It meant that he had Dan James overlapping him on the other side, so they didn't know what to do. They didn't know whether to cover one winger or the other. And we just absolutely overloaded them in dangerous areas. And that's what opened up the space for Somerville, certainly for the third goal. And it opened up the space for James for the second.
Yeah.
For the equaliser.
Yeah, it was just, you could straight away, like you say, I think going for the jugular sums it up completely. We were just out to kill at that point. And you're really looking at our attack, the depth we've got and the talent. And, when Jaden Anthony comes on later and he's got defenders on toast, that attack is so potent. So potent.
I do think there is something in Daniel Farker's system and tactics and style. I'd love to go back and have a look at the Norwich goals and the time of when the goals came and things, because I certainly see a pattern. I think he tries to demoralize teams, kill teams, and he's happy with his team scoring and winning the game later on. Think about Millwall. When we scored, we score goals late on. I think there's a couple of games at Bristol we scored, the winner in the second half. I think there's been, several examples this season where we try to take teams late and then kind of punch them once they're out, a bit more fatigued. And I think we saw a little bit of that today. Norwich had to work so hard to play against us in that first half that come the 60th minute, they didn't have anything left.
No. Why couldn't we do that against Southampton? What was the difference today to Southampton, do you think? Is it just a case of the way the ball rolls sometimes we weren't quite at it? Or was it just...
I just think there were too many individual players against Southampton that had bad days. Yeah. We were taking 3, 4, 5 touches when today we were doing it in 1 and 2s. And I think I just think it were a bad day at the office. Even first half, it didn't feel like the first half at St Mary's. And I actually think that Norwich looked better going forward than Southampton did. Bear in mind, going back to the Southampton game, their XG in that first half were like 0.3 and they were 3-0 up. Yeah, exactly. The goals were not flukes, but you're not going to score them every week kind of goals. Yeah. So I just think it was a really bad day at the office against Southampton. Yeah. That's how I'd like to believe it anyway. When I watched that game, it felt like they weren't at it. And there were too many of them. You can carry 1 or 2, you can't carry 9 or 10. And I felt like that day we carried a lot of passengers. Whereas today we were never doing that. Like switching off from a corner. They did have other moments though. But like I said, we have vulnerabilities defensively. And a lot of them came on Archie's side today. And I'm not trying to smash Archie, but it makes a huge difference when we have a fully fit Jed Spence in there.
Yeah, he's not quick, is he? Archie's not quick.
No.
There were a couple of times where he didn't have the legs to players got away from him. And I think if you get Spence back, I think he's back in training. He just needs a couple more weeks for full training. If you put Spence in that team as well, it's, and if he's up to that level pretty quickly, oh God, it's looking, if we had a proper left back, we'd be flying. Although, Byron's been solid, but.
Byron's been one of the signings of the season, considering the fact that he's a free transfer. But today we did again get exposed on that side because there's times where he won't clear it on his left foot down the line and keep the ball in play. He wants to cut in constantly, and it does limit what you can do down there. I mean, I still don't want to see Junior Firpo play there, but I don't want to see that.
January, come on, let's just get it done. I mean, that is the one position. Just get it done, and we'll be absolutely laughing at it.
Yeah, I'm almost in the mindset that I don't know if we need a 10. Like I think we can survive with
Georgia. What do you do with Georgia then? If you get a number 10, what are you doing with Georgia then? I mean, I know he's playing at the top, but he comes deep so often. And the Pirro Rutter thing, I think it's working. It is working. I think, we probably would like to see, or, we've complained that Pirro's not been playing as that striker, but you can tell he don't press well. He don't, he's not that type of player. And he does work well with his back to goal sometimes. So, I agree. Number 10's not, I'm not even thinking about number 10. I'm not worried about number 10 now. Yeah. Not with all that attacking players and, what we've done.
The thing is, and I mean, Byram, would probably have never have expected to be starting every game. No. Well, he definitely wouldn't have been expecting to start every game. And I think if we sign a left back and Byram is then available to play left back and right back, I genuinely think like he can then cover for Spence. He can have games when Spence needs a rest. He plays more natural position at right back. And we are then again, the squad is so much stronger. So much stronger. Yeah. Creswell and Gellert didn't even make the squad today. I know. You know what I mean?
That's unbelievable.
And the bench is still ridiculously strong. And for me, like, I know we joked about Ayling coming on and he's always got a clanger in him and whatnot. But if Ayling and Cooper are coming on with 5 minutes to go in a situation like that today, I am more than okay with that. That is what they should be there for, especially Cooper. You know what I mean? So, I mean, Skip's just put their thought Stroik looks an axe more of a captain now. I mean, he looks like that mountain again.
Yeah, he does.
And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but he's been excellent. He's, when he's got Rodon alongside him. But today, like I say, he covered Rodon a little bit today because he didn't have his best game today, didn't
No, and you can see that, I mean, if you're talking about ball progression, Stroik is the top of the tree. His ball progression, how much time he has on the ball, his distribution. You can see the other players. He's the one who's building from the back. So key. Let's get to some of your comments and then we'll try and get the Somerville goals on because, I mean, they're just worth a watch, aren't they? Absolutely. CB up to third place. Is that right? Are we up to third place?
Right. It is.
Fantastic. We love it.
Preston points again.
Yeah. Liam, big up from Donegal. Come on, Leeds. John, tough place to go. Delighted with the win. Math Moores, where do you watch the game? I'm in Portugal looking for a quality TV stream. We listen to it on the radio.
What I will say though to that question, if you live in Portugal, you can buy LUTV and watch it watch it, no problem, because European get it.
Do they still have to do the passes? Do they still have to buy match passes?
I think you might have to buy a season pass or something like that, but you can definitely watch it on LUTV if you're abroad. It's only us in the UK that can't physically watch the game on LUTV.
Yeah. John, I would have liked to drop Gray for the midweek game and play Luke, but I trust whatever Farker does. I've got to say, I think I was happy that Gray started, to be honest, but it's going to be interesting going forward because, like we say, Gray struggled a little bit today.
There was a lot of talk about it, wasn't there? Because Farker went ballistic in the press conference about the fact that Archie had played 3 games away on international duty. And then was it kind of hypocritical if he then started him today? But the flip to that is that Archie is one of his players. And he doesn't have as many options to pick from as an international setup does. And smashing a young lad with that amount of games in a short period of time is a bit negligible. Negligible?
Yeah.
Negligent. Negligent. That's what I'm looking for. Negligent. So I understand why he then started him today. I just think he was up against 2 quality operators on that side in Hernandez and Sara, who were both quick, really good wingers, and he's not a natural fullback. He filled in really well last week for us, but you can't expect a 17-year-old centre midfielder to look gravy against some of these top championship wingers. No. It's just not realistic. So, and like Brownie said earlier, he hasn't got blistering speed, hasn't Archie? He's very intelligent. So, but then when he's doubled up on, it's tricky for him to make sure he makes the right decisions when he's unnatural to the position. I know he's played a bit there in international duty, but I still don't want to see him there week in, week out. I think he's now probably third option to Spence and Byram if we then have Firpo available on the other side. Because I do expect when Firpo's fit for Farke to try and find a way to get him into the team.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Math must start Anthony. I don't know, because what who drops out really? Who drops out? I don't know. I mean, for me, Dan James is earning his start, to be honest. I mean, it probably would be effective coming on later in the game as well. I mean, it's tough because I look at Anthony and I think he's quality. He's absolutely quality. It's harsh because he comes on and he's another technically gifted, clever. He didn't put a foot wrong. It's such a hard choice, isn't it, Jayson?
He started, didn't he, were it against Bristol or were it the game before?
The game before, I think, wasn't it? Was it
the game before and then James came back into it?
Yeah.
QPR. The QPR game. Yeah.
At least so, yeah.
And we didn't play particularly great that day, even though we got the result. I just think you can't argue against what Dan James is putting out. You just can't. And I genuinely am at the point where I'm saying, look, you can say that he's not the most talented individual. That's fine, because that's true. But if you're criticizing his performances now, it's pure agenda. It's pure just wanting to bash him because you've bashed him before. For me, like, everything you see in his output, he's very, very good. And go and watch his deliveries. Like, so many of them are into really dangerous areas, the corridor in the 6-yard box. And sure, like I said earlier, for him to deliver them crosses, he's going to make mistakes of them from time to time. But, like, what do you want? Do you want him to then not do it? I would like to see more of it from Somerville and Nonto, personally. I think they are far too conscious of giving the ball away. What they will do is they will cut back inside and play it short to Ampadu or Kamara or whoever else is at the edge of the box. Whereas James will put his neck on the line and whip it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, he even had a really good shot as well, didn't he? That second half where he cut inside, he blasted it. Good save as well.
Really good save.
That's the thing, you see. He's not afraid, is he, to try stuff, and that's we appreciate that. Skip thought Rutter and Somerville had really good games. Archie sadly seems to be leggy due to his international game. He needs a good 2-game rest. Yeah, like Jayson was covering off there, and also would like to see what Gruev can offer, but doesn't seem to get much time. I mean, it's interesting to see what's happening with Gruev. I mean, he was someone I think Farke was really, really keen on getting, but again, it seems to be Kamara's got the nod. It seems like Gruev might be the backup for Ampadu. That certainly seems to be the vibe we're getting. Ampadu's too consistent to drop, obviously. It's a tricky one for him. Is he someone who, I mean, it's a long old season. Lots of things happen, injuries, and there's still plenty of games to go. What do you make of how the Gruev situation there, Jess?
I think, like, when players come in, there has to be like a bit of an adaptation time, especially when they come from abroad, and not everybody can play. Like, you only have 11 spots in the starting lineup. So I think, hopefully he is good enough, which I'm sure he is. Like, the recruitment this summer's been perfect, almost perfect. It's certainly in terms of the bodies that we've brought in, whether we could have filled the hole at left back or at 10 or whatever, that's a different question. But in terms of the quality of the players that we've brought in has all been really, really good. So I just think it's that about him getting his opportunity. At some point, Ampadu is going to get injured or he's going to get a suspension. And Gruev will then have his opportunity to stake his claim for that team, for that position. Kamara had the same situation. He didn't start the first couple of games when he came in. Archie had that position. Daniel Farke made the decision to change it up and brought Kamara in, and Kamara, got the place. And even then, Kamara came back out again, and Archie came back in. I think it was after the Southampton game. Kamara got dropped, and Archie came back in. So, he's shown that he can earn his position in the team. But I think Brown is spot on. I think Ampadu has been so pivotal this season. And again, I thought he had a good game today. Again, he's breaking up a play, and he's getting his foot in and all the rest of it. He is essential. So you can't give Gruev the chance just to be nice. If he's not as good in that position as Ampadu. And Gruev's not a destroyer in the same way that Ampadu is. Gruev's a deep lying playmaker. He's a ball player. So He's been playing left centre back for Bulgaria. I don't know if you've seen that, which is a bit weird because he's never played there. Played in centre back anywhere else in his career, but he's quite tall and maybe they need somebody to play there. I don't know, but
seems like it, doesn't it? Getting Nonto back, I mean, that was one of those nice surprises this week where I'd kind of forgotten a little bit about Nonto, and then suddenly he's back in the team, and you know, I mean, he's a quality player. You know, totally get what you were saying earlier about, you know, sometimes maybe he needs to just not offer a bit more, but kind of put the ball in, try a little bit more. But I mean, when you've got a player like him to come on in the Championship, I mean, it's just insane, isn't it? I mean,
it's testament to the squad, mate, that we've not really missed him. We've not thought about him too much because we've still had other options, and that's exactly how it should be. You know, we should have a squad that's capable of doing that. We haven't had that. Like, even in the Championship under Bielsa, if Harrison got injured or Costa got injured, we were looking at the bench and being like, who's going to play there now? We're going to have McKinstry or, you know, McCarron coming on or whatever. Like, we don't have that anymore. We have proper players that can play in all these positions, to the point, like we said earlier, Gellart and Cresswell are not even getting on the bench today. And that's what it should be like. Sure, they're going to be a bit upset about it, but it's a big boys game. Like, sorry, like, you need to earn your place in the squad. So
Gellart's miles away, isn't it? I mean, just a comment on Gellart. I mean, it's got to be a loan out, surely, in January.
I read something the other day that he's
nowhere near. I mean, how many injuries and suspensions would there had to be before he would come back into the team? He's absolutely nowhere near. Nowhere near.
It's easy to say this in hindsight and all the rest of it, but if you'd have given me the opportunity back in the window to keep him or Greenwood, I'd have let him go and kept Greenwood personally. Because I think Greenwood had shown a little bit more that he could probably adapt to Championship football, and I think Greenwood would have given us a bit more in a number of positions as a backup option. I just don't see where Gellart plays. No. I just don't get it. Does he play 9? No. Can he play 10? He can play there, but we've seen what he delivers there when he's played it. I mean, he had the opportunity against Salford, and he stunk the place out, really, didn't he?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's not. He doesn't look to have progressed, developed in 2-3 years now, which you just can't do. Chris Thompson, buzzing. All Leeds are we. Sauceville's second game is semi-getting. Skip, how good can Somerville be if he carries on his progression at Leeds? Well, let's have a little look, shall we, at these 2 goals, because it was just absolutely superb. I absolutely loved it, mate, honestly.
Again, I just think we saw the best and worst of Somerville again today. Like, first half, he was frustrating the hell out of me. Like I say, I messaged you just before he scored the first, and it was perfect timing because I kind of like moaned it in. But once he gets them bits right, he will be a £30 million Premier League player, because so much of his natural ability you can't teach, you can't train it. So,
well, what I loved about this as well is it was the composure as well.
Yeah.
Oh, let me just mute it down so we can hear it. I mean, Texas. I mean, the way. I mean, let's just pull this back. I mean, look at this.
Finish, isn't it?
The way he just kind of slowed down, and just it was a time where, because I've been complaining with Leeds players, especially when they're like, you know, scoring, you know, taking shots and everything. It's like we seem to rush everything and snapshots, and that it just seemed to just line up absolutely beautiful. Absolutely loved it.
Look at the sea of players in front of the goal as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's just phenomenal. Let's one more time. Look at that. Oh.
Beautiful finish.
Love it. And then we got his winner here. Let me pull it back a bit before we get it going. Look at this.
I tell you what, this little flick by Bamford, by the way. Lovely little ball. Beautiful ball by Rutter.
Look at Rutter, Rutter. And then look, I mean, to carry the ball this far. I mean, that's great, just...
He got cramp afterwards, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that is just superb. Like, if he keeps that up, if he keeps that level up, you're absolutely right. I mean, his ceiling is just phenomenal. It's interesting with Somerville, because he came to Leeds and he was a standout, obviously, in the, you know, the reserves. But he was not someone I thought, above Gellart and above some other names, but... He's just so damn good. He's so damn good. He's frustrating at times. We know that. But his ball progression, his dribbling ability is outstanding. And
Yeah, it is.
It's like last season there were that he had a 3 or 4 game hot streak where he scored a few goals on
the goal against Liverpool.
Tottenham, he scored a couple of goals, and he's one of my favourites. I just think, if he keeps on going, he's just an unbelievable asset for us. And he's shown a bit of loyalty. He's shown a bit of loyalty to the badge, I think. I don't know how serious the offers were, and I think there's been this conception about him, a misconception in my point, where he's a bit of a big time player, and he poses on Instagram, and it's the fat cars, and there's that kind of perception that can be put out there. I don't think it's fair myself. I really don't think it's fair, because you look at Mr. Hardworking, Jack Harrison, where model professional, but he's annoyed me this week with some of the stuff he's been coming out. I'll take Somerville over Harrison all day long. I would not take Harrison over Somerville now in a million years.
Especially in the Championship, because you can get away with not having that little bit of experience and know-how and nous, and the raw talent can kind of come through without it being as much of a problem. 100%. I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. I think there was definite concrete interest from Holland in the summer. I don't think they'd have ever had the money to be able to come and get him, really, because I think we're going to want 25-30 million for him. And Burnley, from what we've been told, they bid 25 million on deadline day for him, and it would turn down. So it shows a position that we believe in. But again, if he wanted to kick and scream about it, he could have done, and he didn't. He's always kept his head down. My only concern with him is how easy he gets injured, but it's very much because of how explosive and dynamic he is. Little tears and stuff happen in players like that all the time. And just like I say, his decision making is a frustration of mine. He gets into so many good positions, but like I said, and I keep on saying it, if he did them things right, he would be a top-end Premier League player, because you cannot train that lateral movement, how good he is on the ball, his speed, especially over short distances, the 5-6 yard bursts. You can't teach it. So clubs would be all over a player like that if he had all the other bits as well that he doesn't have. So.
And he's got so much time for it. I mean, what is he, 20, 21, 22 now or something? I mean, it's just scary. I mean, he absolutely, not to get too far out of ourselves, but if we're in the Premier League next season, for me, he's in that squad, and it'll be a major, major bonus for us. Chris Thompson, both his goals were very Sinisterra-like, don't you agree? Yeah, I know what you mean. The composure, that's what I mean. They had that kind of top-level composure on it.
Not in the squad today, Brownie. Sinisterra.
Oh, really? What was the final result with Bournemouth? I saw it 1-1.
They lost 2-1.
They did they?
Lewis Cook got
sent. Shame.
Lewis Cook got sent off after 50 minutes, and they conceded late.
Oh, so good.
I know.
Just Bournemouth lost. Breaks my heart. Absolutely breaks my heart. Does that?
I had Wolves on my acca today as well.
Did you?
I've called some good ones this season.
You've done all right, haven't you? I'm going to have to start matching your bets. I think. I'm going to start giving me up ahead. Digley, I wouldn't take Harrison at all. Not hating on him, but I just don't rate him. Not bothered about Harrison at all. Definitely not taking him. Couple of comments coming in through from Farker, Adam Pope. Farker, I had to go for it. I love that, and it's fortune favours the brave. He has gone for it, and it's a huge, huge turnaround against a tough opponent. Norwich away was one of those games, wasn't it, Jason? When you're looking at the fixture list, going, "Oh, that's going to be tough." Wagner and Fark. I mean, a lot of similarities. Taking Championship clubs up and Borussia Dortmund reserve background. I mean, thank God we've
it's a really difficult place to go. Really, really difficult place to go. I mean, historically, we've not done great there. I know we won there the last time. One of his best performances of that season in the last time we played them in the Championship.
Yeah.
And then in the Premier League, we beat them the season that we stayed up. Yeah. But previous to Bielsa especially, it's always been a really, really difficult place to go. They've always had good sides, especially at Championship level. I remember going there when I was about 16 and Tom Elliott came off the bench to make his debut. He was still a schoolboy. Remember that? 2006.
Yeah.
But it's a tricky place to go. And I think they're a good side. I would be stunned if they're not in the top 6 come the end of the season. I think they're a really solid side. Really, really solid side.
Jack Stacey's a good fullback. Shane Duffy knows exactly what he's doing. McLean in the midfield, proper captain. Strong base. And then you look at some of the attacking talent that they've got: Sarah, Rowe, and Adam Ida, top players. And they're missing Josh Sargent, who's injured, and they've got Ashley Barnes as well. They've got some real ability up there. So I think they'll be in and around it.
Yeah, I saw stats saying the amount of points that Ipswich and Leicester had already hit. In previous seasons, that means you're basically going up. Ipswich was 6 points behind them. They've got a game in hand. But if they lose, on Wednesday, if they lose midweek or whatever, and it is just 6 points, I feel like this Leeds team has certainly got enough talent to catch them. Do you think we'll catch them, Jason? I mean, what do you think? I mean, Leicester have won again today. I mean, I can't see us catching Leicester, but can we get that second spot, do you think?
Leicester is just relentless out there. I mean, even today they were 1-0 down and they just canter to a 3-1 win. Yeah. Can we catch Ipswich? Yeah, we definitely can. Will we? I don't know. I think psychologically, I think it's quite big that we're now only 6 points behind. The game is they were meant to play Rotherham, right? And they called off yesterday because of the weather. I think it's important. At some point, Ipswich are going to drop points. They're going to drop points. They are not going to be like Leicester, who can just constantly churn out these wins. A couple of big injuries, so a couple of their better players. They are still a League One team that is now playing in the Championship. Now, should they have been in League One? Probably not. They were very good in League One. They've got a top manager. So I would expect them. We all picked them, didn't we? That they could do something in this season. But I cannot see a position where they just carry on with this momentum all season long. We just need to make sure that we properly take advantage of it when them opportunities come. We need to keep winning. That's what will stop us catching Ipswich. Ipswich are going to drop points. It's just whether Leeds get the points that they need to overtake them and then, kind of stamp that second place. But I think we can. I just think it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Robbie, our squad depth should be better than Ipswich. Yeah, certainly. I mean, the array of talent that we've got now at the club. Yeah, absolutely. It's just they've done unbelievably. I mean, you can only tip your hat off and say what an incredible job McKenna's done there. I mean, it's phenomenal to come up last year and to follow that momentum. I mean, we know that promoted teams, they've got a good vibe and everything, but I mean, nobody would have. I mean, I said it on our preview show. I was like, going up, double promotion, but didn't really believe it. But, it's tricky. It's frustrating for Leeds. I think it's frustrating because I feel like we were certainly good enough to have been doing what Leicester are doing a little bit, or certainly I feel that that's such a sticky start and not winning for so long and drawing so many games. It's frustrating, really, but hopefully we've got enough time to bridge this thing.
Our start to the season was always going to be more disturbed than Leicester's. There was so much to kind of go through with the change and the contracts, the players that were leaving, players coming and all the rest of it. And the facts are we've lost one game more than both of them. Ipswich and Leicester have lost once each. We've lost two. And we have drawn a couple of games that we shouldn't have drawn. West Brom at home, Sheffield Wednesday at home, particularly. If we'd have got the results in them games that we should have done, because I think we should have won both of them games, we'd be talking about being 2 points behind Ipswich right now. And it's a different kettle of fish. You know what I mean? Birmingham away, where we probably should have got a point out of the game, and we poorly. We had a really understrength team that day. We had Paveda and Shackleton on the right wing. You know what I mean? We have to put it all into perspective, and it's frustrating and disappointing, but it's the hands that we were dealt this summer, given all the change. So, looking at the league table now, Leicester, Ipswich, Leeds, I'd say they're the three best teams in the league. And I know that's easy to say when they 1, 2, 3, but you know what I mean. Southampton, I would say are probably close, but I think they've got real deficiencies. I think they just got us on a bad day, unfortunately. And then you look at the likes of Sunderland. They got battered the other week 5, and then they've lost against Stoke today. Started the day just outside the bottom 3. Sunderland are always, and Preston.
you know, they have been on a bit of bad form after starting the season really, really well. We've already caught them past Preston, and we were looking at Preston a few weeks ago, 6 wins from 6 at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So it's how quickly it can change, and I would expect Ipswich to have have a dip.
Yeah. What needs to happen for you? I mean, for me, we've got to nip this slow starts in the bud. We've got to not give ourselves mountains to climb all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we've really, I feel like at home now, we're kind of asserting ourselves a bit more. I feel like, you know, we've got a few wins at home now, and, you know, teams are not dominating us at home at all in games. But I feel like away from home, we've got to be right at it at the start. You know, you don't give yourself mountains like this, because you're not always going to get things like today, really. And you know, Farker's come out, you know, and he said a couple of more comments. Says he's delighted with the win. Never felt the game wasn't winnable, so switched to a 3-5-2. Wasn't upset at halftime with the display. Felt they'd get their rewards if they kept going. Won't reveal the secret behind Somerville's consistently fine performance, but says it's a vital victory. You know, so yeah, absolutely.
I think you're spot on. I think there's a couple of things, like away from home, teams know that they need to set a batters, and you know, there is the Leeds effect as well, and some people don't like to hear it, but it's just true. Like, teams set up and go at us quickly early in games. It means a lot to them, and we need to react. And I think our style and tactics kind of aids that a little bit. I mentioned it earlier that I think we want to kind of take teams late and drown them.
Yeah.
And what that kind of then creates is that we're a bit slower earlier. But we have to find a way of balancing it better, because we can't, you know, this is now. How many away games have we had this season? Maybe 6.
Yeah, about 6.
I would say 3 or 4 of them we've found ourselves behind early. If you include Cardiff at home in that as well, we found ourselves 2-0 down there. We found ourselves conceding 3 against Ipswich away, 3 against Southampton away in first half. And you look at all these scenarios and situations that we can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to end up you know, losing games that you shouldn't lose.
No, yeah, 100%. Looking forward, then we've got Stoke midweek. It's away again, but I mean, it's one of again. We've just got to get 3 points. We've just got to get it banked, haven't we? Now, just keep this momentum up. Next week, it's the big West Yorkshire derby for us all that I won't see.
Yeah, you're just disgusting, Brownie. I'm very disappointed with him, chat. Like, I'm really disappointed. Ask him what he's doing. Tell him, Brownie. Tell him.
Yeah. So, do you know when you agree to something months
way
in
advance,
way in advance? You did, yeah. What 28th of October? Yeah. That's fine. Whatever. Yeah, not important. And then you find out that it's Leeds United versus Huddersfield, and instead of watching that, I'll be pumpkin picking. I'll be out there on a dirty field with mud up to my knees.
Can't you go after?
With a wheelbarrow. Well, no, you got to book a slot.
Oh, that's gross.
Honestly, I'll be back for the match, probably review with you and Steve, because we're going to get Steve on next week. He's going to be on. So hopefully it's going to be, we better get the right result that day, I tell you.
I'm racing on the day, so I'm in a karting.
Oh, yeah.
Karting like championship thing up in Teesside. So I'll be watching the game while driving back on a phone.
Oh,
so yeah, that but I'll be back.
You could be at risk there, signal dropouts and stuff. It could be a bit risky, that.
I know.
Imagine if we both don't get to.
Yeah, it'll be funny.
I should be back to tell us what happened, and like, nah.
I should be back for the second half. So yeah. I won't miss it all, I don't think. Well, I won't miss any of it because I will be watching it on the way back. But yeah,
no, exactly. No, no, Chris. Absolutely.
This is what we have to deal with,
terrible.
Chris.
Terrible.
Sorry,
It's on Sky, isn't it? Is it on Sky? Oh,
yeah.
No, I might be able to, get it on, like strap it onto the wheelbarrow.
Put your AirPods in or something.
I did that.
Sorry, family.
What did I do? What game was it? I'd gone to York. Oh, it was. Can't remember which game it was, and I missed the first half because we're driving back from York, and I was marching through York City Centre with the AirPods on, ignoring my family. Like, just couldn't listen to the game. Come on, it's got to be done.
I'm not forward to it, Brownie. I'm not. Like, I I know, Steve.
I agree. I know what you mean.
But for me, I just see this as a Leeds fan, and I'm sure that most of the guys in the chat would agree with me. I just think it's a no-win game for Leeds. We go and win the game, especially at home. Well, we're expected to win. Your Leeds are much bigger. We lose the game, and it's just all hell on. And they just care so much about it. It gets under my skin. Like I see the game next Saturday. Personally, I see it no different to today's game. Or like, all right, maybe not like today's game, but like a Rotherham. Or it's just meh. Like it's just meh. And they're gonna be so up for it.
Their FA Cup final, I'm telling you, it's their FA Cup final, and Big Kev's stirred it up a little bit with the ticket thing and everything. So there's going to be an added dimension to it as well because of that ticket furor as well. I think it's going to be interesting.
I'm not coming on if we lose.
I'll cancel. Yeah, absolutely. I'll cancel. I didn't get to see it anyway. I'm carving pumpkins. I can't be asked with it. I think though, to be honest, I mean, it's a little bit like that for me with the Championship as a whole, though, because I think I was so hyped about us getting back to the Premier League. It felt like the treasure at the end of the rainbow. You go on this journey. It was this big 16-year battle to get back to the Premier League. And to be dumped back in the Championship after only 3 seasons, I feel it's why I'm like always on about the top 2, because I just want us back in the Premier League so badly. I really do. I mean, listen, there's been some fantastic games this season, fantastic attacking play, but I do want us in the Premier League. I want us back in that Premier League as soon as possible. I really do. We don't have to bother with teams like Huddersfield. Then we can just.
I agree.
I
agree. Just going into the league tower, I just kind of were perusing as you were chatting then. Did you see that Birmingham lost in the last minute today?
No, I didn't.
Against Middlesbrough away, which I really want them to suffer because I think it was scummy what they did last week, and I just don't get it. I don't get this clamour for Rooney at all. Did terrible at Derby, did terrible at Dallas. I just don't get it. But Middlesbrough, the reason that I bring that up really is that Middlesbrough, obviously, I did think they would struggle this season. And they probably, won't be a contender now given the start that they've had. But given the start that they've had and just how far behind they were, and now they're upturning results, they are now 2 points off Sunderland in 6th. They're 2 points off the playoffs on 17 points. Just shows you how quickly this division can change.
Well, this is the other thing as well. Leeds United and playoffs do not mix at all. Now, you would hope with the standard of player we've got that mentally we're in a different place to perhaps how we were in the past in playoff games, but please, not the playoffs. Like that's the other thing. I just think, I just couldn't go through it. And I could see like a team like Middlesbrough have had a bad start and they've turned it around and they get to the Premier League through the playoff. You could just see it's football, isn't it?
Johnny Woodgate
Leeds
against Leeds.
Sam Greenwood smacking it in from 30 yards or something. He's getting games, to be fair, isn't he?
Carrick and Co. He's playing.
He's getting games. I think they're on about a £1.5 million fee, aren't they, or something at the
I think that'd be a big shame, that, to be honest. I think there's something in him, but I get it. But I think there's something in Sam Greenwood. I just think he were always played in the wrong position. Do you remember the first playoff? I don't think you were. You're not that old, are you? You're not that much older than me.
The first play
against Charlton.
Which year are we talking about?
I think didn't we lose a playoff in about 87, 88?
Oh yeah. No, I'm not that old. No, Well, it was the same year. So it was a year Billy Bremner in charge. We got to the FA Cup semi-final and we lost to Coventry, who won it that year, and we lost, I think, in the playoff semi-final, and he was sacked. And then I think Wilkinson came in then.
And then I remember obviously all the more recent ones. So 2004, 2005, Watford. I were there for all of that playoff semi-finals and final. Then Doncaster final, James Hayter 1-0, awful game. And then the Millwall semi-finals, when I've never seen us dominate a game more at home and not win. Like, it was just wild. And then we lost that in the semis. And then obviously we went up the season after in second, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, that Derby one where...
and then Derby.
We'd won the away game 1-0. We're winning 1-0. I mean, how you throw that away from there? Like,
no team had ever won the first leg away from home and then not gone through to the final. We were the first one not to do it. We were the first one to do it, and that day we absolutely dominated at their place as well.
Yeah.
Kamaru scored, and you know, Pat did a lot of good for us the season after when we got promoted, Premier League and all the rest of it. But that second leg, when Kamaru didn't make it through from the first game, he'd taken a knock. It was massive in that second leg. We missed him so much, so much. But that's why Bielsa got rid of him, because he couldn't trust him. He were always in and out with them knee injuries, wasn't he?
Yeah, well. Right, then let's get back today then.
Yeah, anyway, sorry, I don't know how we've got to...
No, I know, yeah. It's
about playoffs.
We get down there in playoffs and it's scarred from the playoffs. Mick, thanks for your comment, mate. Really enjoyed the football today. I mean, the thing is, the standard of football we're getting this season, I mean, it's exciting to watch, Liz. It's good to watch. And we you know, I talked about this in pre-season. You could tell we were going to be possession heavy. You know, it was going to be a lot of exciting play going on, and I am enjoying the football, definitely. Arthur all over them second half. Manager got tactics wrong first half. It's weird. Is it tactics or is it mentality, or it's hard to put your finger on it, because I don't know what else you would do with that at the start there.
I just think we need to remember as fans that there's two teams playing a game of football sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like the opposition want to win the game too, right? Yeah. They're not just there to make up the numbers and let us roll on with 3 points. And Wagner got it right first half. And there was some, they had some really, really good moments. And they've got some quality. Like I said earlier, they have got some quality. So, I think... At the beginning of the second half, things didn't change all that much. And we were creating chances in that first half too. It'd have been very, very easy for us to go in at half-time at 2-2 if we'd have taken a couple of our chances. We just weren't clinical again. Yeah. But he certainly, when he made the changes, capitalised on something that he'd seen in making that shift. And the players, they stood up. Again, they've shown that they can come from behind and again, today win games. So...
Yeah, no, exactly. And as Arthur says, Norwich played well first half. Early goal gives team confidence. That's the thing, but it shows you how well we did against Ipswich actually at the start of the season when we conceded first against them and turned it around. Let's see if there's any more comments from Daniel Farker. He says Crescencio is a baller. He is indeed.
I love Daniel Farker.
He's exhausted after the best type of wins. Heaps praise on all the players for adapting to the different style and changes. Adds that he wasn't sure how we'd feel at the end, but felt in his gut it was the right thing to be respectful to Norwich fans despite his elation. Oh, fair play. It's difficult, isn't it? When you've made such an impact at a club. Daniel Farker, I mean, it's fascinating, like you said, of times we've criticised him, and then the week after we seem to be heaping praise on for him. I suppose, we forget how fast we expect things to work in football these days, don't we, as well? I mean, he's had to create this team at lightning speed, but, it's coming together nicely, and I think, we're seeing a lot of interesting stories coming from it, the redemption of Melier, strike, it's fantastic to see, isn't it? I mean, we're in a great spot. For me, there just feels the pressure to keep up to this and keep going. It's almost like, it's amazing actually, because I remember under Bielsa, especially the second season, where it was a similar kind of pressure every game. It's like gotta win. It's amazing that we're kind of back into that, really. But we want to be. We do kind of hate the Championship. We want to be up there in that. We're Leeds United. We want to be with the big boys, don't we?
Of course. We see ourselves as above, don't we, than the standard. And I know that is a little bit arrogant. But it is the way that it is. We're a big club. So, we do, of course, we want to be at the top table. We want to do it in the right way. And, this division is relentless. It's constant. And like I said just 2 minutes ago, teams are not going to turn up and roll over and just give you the points. And they're fighting for their lives as well and whatever their ambitions are. And that's why games like Sheffield Wednesday at home is tricky. Like, no game is easy, and they're shocking. QPR at home, you know what I mean? They come and they want to make it difficult and scrappy and scruffy, and but we are building in the right way, and you're absolutely spot on. Football now is just all about instant results and instant gratification, and you can't have what we want at the end of the rainbow overnight. We have 100% been spoiled with what we had with Bielsa. It still hangs over us because fans just expect, well, this man did it, so that's it. You know what I mean? And he did it with the team that's probably worse than this team, to be honest.
Yeah.
He just came in and changed it overnight. Well, that's not normal. That's the exception to the rule, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Danny Fleck is doing a great job. Like, he's not getting everything right. He's not getting everything perfect, but most of the time he's getting it spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be fascinating if we do get up to the Premier League, what happens then and how much time he'll have and how much they'll invest in the club. I mean, it's actually, I mean, we talk about this array of attacking talent Leeds have. It'd be fascinating to see how many are actually good enough for the Premier League. Like someone like Dan James, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know if he cut it, when it comes to the Premier League. But, and then you've got players like Somerville who are are they consistent enough for the Premier League? Rutter, could he step up to the Premier League? It'd be interesting to see.
It is such a shame that we're not in the Premier League this year.
Yeah,
because the standard of that bottom 4-5 is so bad. They are so far off. So far off. I mean, if you were to, I know you couldn't do this, but if you were to replace that, if you were to bring them three back into this division this season and put them up against Southampton, us, Leicester, Ipswich, Burnley would probably be able to contest, but Luton and Sheffield United have been nowhere near the promotion picture, in my opinion. I think they are so far off it. I mean, Sheffield United and Luton are just getting rolled over every week, really. Luton are fighting, and they look like dogged, but they're just so far off having the quality to deal with the level that they're playing at.
And Burnley, I mean, but Brentford have not been on fire this season, but 3-0. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy, isn't it?
I think that's got a lot to do with style. Burnley in the Championship.
He's not changing it, is he?
He's just not.
He won't do it, will he? He's just sticking to his guns. Jayson, anything else we want to cover off, mate, before we bid farewell?
Don't think so. Happy with third, mate. It's nice to see us up there.
A comeback victory. I love it, man. I love it.
22 points, 6 wins for the season, only 2 defeats. Only conceded 13 goals even after shipping 2 more today. It's nice. It's nice to see us up there, and there's a little bit of a gap now, at least pulling. We're 4 points clear of 7, so we're bedded into that playoff picture right now. It's baby steps in it, and I think I said to you when we played Bristol City, the next target now is third.
Yeah, I
said that to you because we have to look at the next step, and now the next target is Ipswich. And we just got to keep on winning. Stoke away, Huddersfield at home. Now that we've got the 3 points today, it'd be disappointing if we don't come out of the next week with 9 points.
Any changes you'd do for Stoke in terms of freshening it up or anything?
I would bring Archie out.
I would bring Archie out. Would you maybe Byram, Shackleton thing or something?
Probably Shaq. Probably Shaq at right back.
Yeah.
If Spence isn't ready. I'd probably go Shackleton at right back and just drop Archie out for a week and then maybe bring him back in against Huddersfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us for the last hour. It's been fantastic to discuss and revel in a comeback victory for Leeds United as they come from 2-0 behind to beat Norwich City 3-0. If you've been watching live, thanks for getting involved. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for liking the video. If you're watching again, leave us a comment as well. Love to know what you thought of the game. And if you're listening on Spotify, please do share it and leave us a comment there as well. We'll be back. We're hoping to get a Monday night EFL review where we'll be looking at a few of our other teams across West Yorkshire as well. Myself and Jayson, I think we'll be back for Stoke post-match, won't we? If we're both available, potentially.
Unfortunately, unless I can do the Thursday, but I'm at Newcastle Dortmund, aren't I, on Wednesday? So I'm going to miss the Stoke game.
Unfortunately. That will be unreal.
It will be unreal. And I am really looking forward. I'm a little bit sick because I hate missing a Leeds game, especially when I'm missing a Leeds game for another football match. But I don't get, nobody gets many opportunities to go to a Champions League game of that kind of magnitude. So it's free of charge. It's on work. So I'm buzzing.
You're not missing it for pumpkin picking. So
I'm not missing. Brownie, stop.
So there you go.
But yeah, I'm at that. But we could, I could maybe hopefully catch it later on and review it with you on the Thursday, maybe. Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good. So, yep, thank you very much for watching. I've been Stephen Brown, with me as ever, Jayson Booker. Jayson, thank you very much, mate.
Thank you, mate.
And we'll see you on the other side. Crescencio Somerville, 2 goals. Come on, we love it.
Up the light.